but I just wish we saw more of that. What do you think, buddy? Hi YouTube and welcome to my channel. My name is Patrick. I want to talk about Omarchy. It's a Linux distribution that's been making the rounds lately, and the whole shtick is that it's Arch but with a very opinionated configuration. It includes a lot of interesting apps by default, and I just want to talk about it a little bit because it's tempted me to get back into desktop Linux. So with all of that being said, let's dig right in. So what is Omarchy? Well, it's kind of a distribution of Linux and kind of not. Essentially, it's just a souped up Arch installation script that automates a lot of the menial stuff that you would have to do when setting up Arch. It's available in two forms. You can either run the script on an existing Arch install, or you can download it as an ISO. But that leads me to my first point of where I'm unsure about Omarchy, because as far as I can tell, it bundles in some proprietary software, and as far as I'm aware, most license agreements with proprietary software explicitly state that you can't bundle it unilaterally with other software. You have to get it from the official source. You see, a password manager is something that I would only ever want to get from the developer's website. But back to the good things about Omarchy. So it's a very opinionated desktop, and I think that's what people have been waiting for. You see, we have so many Linux distributions that just play it safe. They go with a traditional desktop environment. Omarchy's really trying something new. It defaults to Hyperland as its window manager. Hyperland is a very well animated, very good window manager. It's very smooth, it's very pleasant to use, and it tiles all your windows for you. Omarchy actually takes this a step further and configures Hyperland for you, so you get like a bar at the top, I believe it's way bar, and it's pre-configured with like tray icons and everything, and the window manager is set up so it knows what windows to make floating and which ones to tile. It's all really well done. And I think a lot of kudos go to the developers who've put together Omarchy, because it is seriously a great desktop experience. Not to mention that it's just straight up pretty. The color palette they've chosen, the icons they went with, the different theming between the different apps, it's all very cohesive. And that brings me to the next thing I want to discuss, which is, why is Omarchy so popular? And it's really quite simple. You see, people want to use a tiling window manager, they want to have a beautiful desktop, but the default implementations just leave too much work for the end user. People want something that is built for them to use, not for them to tinker with. I know this is a hard pill to swallow for a lot of people, including me, but the masses do not want to tinker with their operating system. They want something that works well, and has been well thought out. And that's something that's missing in a lot of Linux distributions. You really have to consider step by step what the user experience will be like, and I think that's what's made Omarchy so popular, the fact that it does all of this work for you so that you just have a nice pleasant experience. So what's my opinion of Omarchy? Well, I really like it. I'm not gonna lie, it is a pleasant desktop to use, and I love the implementation of Hyperland. It's no secret that I've been running macOS on my desktop for a while now, but I don't really like macOS. I think that I think macOS is kind of kludgy and... Oh god, he's awakened it. Get. Like I was saying, I don't really like macOS, and I do have a ThinkPad that I could easily run something like Omarchy on. So why aren't I? Well, there's just a few reasons. First of all, like I said earlier, it pre-installs the password manager, and... Hello. Aw, hey buddy. But it pre-installs the password manager, which is something that I would never want to have pre-installed by anybody except the developer of the password manager. That's just a step too far. And also there are some security concerns. For example, in the past, the Omarchy projects defaulted to using the chaotic AUR repos. That's a very bad idea for security. Also, our Omarchy doesn't have a mandatory access control system. There's no SE Linux. This opens Omarchy up to a lot more danger, because a mandatory access control system is kind of like an extra layer over the file permissions hierarchy that exists in Linux, and it just gives you that extra little bit of reassurance that processes aren't doing something they aren't supposed to do. And that's absent on Omarchy. And yes, you can install and configure it yourself, but the whole point of Omarchy is that it's a pre-configured thing that has everything you need by default, and you don't have to tinker with it. Having to install your mandatory access control system outside of that is counterintuitive to the ethos of the project. But I won't lie, Omarchy does pique my interest. I really think that having, like I said, that polished, thought-through user experience, it goes to show that you can have something as complicated as a tiling window manager, and people will flock to it if the user experience is well thought out and considered. Imagine if we did the same thing with GNOME or KDE, just really thought through the user experience from start to finish. I guess that's kind of what something like Garuda is trying to do, but I just wish we saw more of that. What do you think, buddy? Okay, gotta get down. Alright, so am I going to switch to Omarchy? Well, probably not. My laptop is dedicated to Cubes OS right now, and frankly, Omarchy just has enough wrong with it that I'm not really interested in it. But I'm not going to say that to knock the project. I think it's an amazing thing, and I think that if you're watching this and you haven't tried Omarchy, you absolutely should. It might be a great fit for you if it fits within your threat model. But anyway, thank you for watching. My name is Patrick. This is Applejacks. I appreciate you stopping by and watching my little video, and we'll catch you in the next one.